Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be taking a look at some underrated players that we should all be keeping an eye on in the upcoming Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2024 training camp. There's going to be a few players on offense, a few players on defense that I want to dive into and discuss today, so let's just go ahead and dive right into it. A lot of people want me to talk about Sean Tucker. If I'm being completely honest, I'm kind of out on Sean Tucker right now. Can he bring it back? Absolutely. I hope he does. But 15 attempts last year for 23 yards, 1.5 yards per attempt was not great. And the Bucs pretty much very quickly, put a kibosh on the Sean Tucker experiment. Then they go and they draft Bucky Irving. They bring back Chase Edmonds. I don't know. He is going to be maybe an interesting power back at 210 pounds. But you also have Ramon Jefferson, who has a history with Liam Cohen. Definitely, pay attention to Ramon Jefferson as well. I wanted to mention Sean Tucker because I know a lot of people wanted me to talk about him. And right now, I think we're in a we'll see type of mode because they didn't have a great year last year. Let's see if he can kind of rebound this upcoming year, because it's going to be some very stiff competition for him in terms of getting a roster spot. And I think that is fair to say. In terms of some other guys on the offensive side of things, I've talked about Trey Palmer. I've talked about Jalen McMillan already a few times here on the channel. I did bring up Sterling Shepard. Might as well bring him up again. Interesting veteran wide receiver at the age of 31 years old. Does have a interesting chemistry, obviously, with Baker Mayfield, going back to their time together with the Oklahoma Sooners. So he might be a fun player to watch during training camp as well. Going to the tight end position, Payne Durham. I feel like we haven't talked about Payne Durham a lot on this channel, and, he didn't do much last year. Again, 58 receiving yards on 5 receptions, but great size at 6'6", 253. Is right now, do you presume him to be the backup tight end? Like, Devin Culp's going to be in that mix as well. I really like the thought of Devin Culp, right? 6'3", 231, very fast. I think he ran a 4.47 40-yard dash. He can be a really great stretch the field type of tight end. Are those going to be your two guys battling for tight end too? It seems like it. Maybe you could throw Tanner Tuula in that mix as well. Again, he's not a rookie, so this is going to be his second year with the team. 6'6", 251 pounds. I don't know. Tight end seems like one of the weaker depth positions the Bucs have right now, but we'll see if they can make some noise and possibly be something for the Bucs going into this upcoming season. You then have a few other guys in here as well. Elijah Klein. A lot of people were very hot on Elijah Klein coming out of the NFL draft. Again, he was at UTEP. Is a guy that a lot of people thought was going to be battling for a starting guard spot. Doesn't seem like it's the case. It seems like he's very much going to be a backup guard at this point. But I did want to mention him, much like what I've said before. You could talk about the entirety of the draft class from this most recent draft. It's just how it goes. Defensively, I want to talk about some interesting pass rushers, man. Like Jose Ramirez last year was a guy who was on the Bucs practice squad coming in out of Eastern Michigan. Also played some time at Arizona as well. Was a 6th round draft pick for the Bucs in 2023. Is a guy who I want to see maybe continue to grow as a developmental guy. Yes, you do have a lot of established guys in terms of Randy Gregory, Joe Trine-Shawinka, Anthony Nelson. Now you bring in Chris Braswell into that mix also, and you have Yaya Diaby. That's 5 guys who you assume are going to make this roster. But, don't count out Jose Ramirez. He might be a guy who could make some noise, maybe make some plays here or there. Also, very similar guys like Greg Gaines, who was with the Bucs last year. He's much older, obviously, a couple years older than Jose Ramirez, but I feel like isn't a guy that is being talked about. He only started 2 games last year, but they brought him back for a reason. Is he going to be a guy that can push for some type of rotational, potentially starting type of role? Maybe push Logan Hall for his starting defensive end role? I don't know, but I do believe it is worth talking about. Judge Culpepper, shout out Judge Culpepper, son of Brad Culpepper, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers player. I think that's awesome. In terms of linebackers, I mean, gosh, if I could focus on one guy, it would be J.J. Russell. In terms of inside linebackers, I came away very impressed with Russell last year. Again, 10 tackles, 1 sack, a quarterback hit, a tackle for loss. He literally had to start because the Bucs had so many stinking injuries to their inside linebackers last year, and I like Russell a lot. I think that, he showed some good ability last year in limited play, and I'm going to be curious to see him genuinely maybe try and battle for that maybe third inside linebacker spot with Servastier Dennis. Maybe he could battle all the way up to number 2, although it seems like it's probably going to be KJ Britt. Also throw Kalen DeLoach's name in there as well, and Antonio Greer Jr., son of Antonio Greer. Marquise Watts is another interesting pass rusher. He had 1 sack last year, 4 combined tackles. A lot of people were hyped up on him last year in terms of preseason and training camp and whatnot, so can he do it again? Can he continue that overall stretch? We'll see. Defensive backs, I gotta mention Tyreek Funderburk out of Appalachian State. Dude's just 6 feet, 185. I think he's probably going to make this roster. A lot of people seem to think that as well. And I just want to mention him. I like mentioning the guy. He looked good in rookie minicamp. He was specifically mentioned by Todd Bowles after some of those mini camps as well. So I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that. Bryce Hall is the guy that was brought in as well. I probably wouldn't overlook him. 6'1", 202 pounds. Had a pick 6 last year for the Jets. Had it, a couple of pass deflections in there. His best year came in 2021, where he had 16 passes deflected in 2021, and 79 overall tackles during that year as well. So, I mean, he's got a lot going for him. I think that even in terms of passes deflected, I want to see where he ranked in that year. He was 6th, so I mean, pretty decent player overall, man. It kind of surprised they never really gave him a fair, full shot with the Jets after that year, but for some reason they didn't, and now I'm going to be curious to see what he does for the Bucs as well. Finally, guys, just a few more people I want to mention. Tavier Thomas is in there. Christian Izian's in there as well. I feel like a lot of people have been focusing in on Tyke Smith, but those guys are both very good nickel cornerbacks in their own right, and it wouldn't surprise me if either one of those guys started, so pay attention to them as well. But guys, who are some other players that you are going to be paying attention to in this upcoming training camp that you feel are underrated? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear them down in the comments section below. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed. As always, guys, I'll see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.